incompetence. Hey there, sorry about that. Reports are that Brandon Johnson is in the hospital, folks. Per John Cass and Nita Padilla, who just left Fox News 32 about 2 weeks ago, there's a crazy picture of Brandon. Per reports, he's having serious anxiety issues over his incompetent failure and probably the financial collapse of the city of Chicago, and if not, taking down the state of Illinois with them. He's been making good use out of that gold-plated health insurance, according to reports. And the report goes on further to say that Tony Preckwinkle, who is the head of the board of Cook County, is running the show as Brandon is showing his incompetence. Yeah, you gotta expect this. You gotta expect this. As you watch his video here, as he stumbles through this video that he had about a week ago with Sabrina Franza, he was just grasping for any type of answer to his the tough questions she was asking him. He utterly failed this interview. I'm sure he was more than happy that this interview was over, because all he did was deflect. Hi, Tony. All he did was deflect, and that's about all he did for this whole interview.
I've stood up 27 shelters. We are educating 5,000 children in our Chicago public schools right now. We are providing health screenings, infectious disease control.
But is that sustainable? Because you've said it isn't sustainable.
Well, I think you've answered it. No, it's not sustainable. The Congress does have to act. And if they do not act,
tell me this is not an anxiety-driven guy at this point. Should have saw this coming.
Look, leadership in this moment really requires building an operation that's centered around people's humanity. And we have done that. Again, 27 shelters, 5,000 children in our Chicago public school system. We're providing health screenings, infectious disease control. And here's the thing, though. Keep in mind, $250 million have been invested in the unhoused in my budget. $100 million has been invested for violence prevention in my budget. We're going to hire 30,000 young people this summer in my budget. We have stood up a brand new office, an office for reentry, individuals who are returning from jails and prison. An entire office dedicated to make sure we're investing in those families. So even with this crisis, it never stopped me from fulfilling my mission and my vision in the city of Chicago. And that's investing in people.
But you have said that this is not sustainable. So in the event that the federal government doesn't give you any more money, and the state doesn't seem to be able to do that either. We heard from the governor yesterday and asked him about that and didn't really get an answer from him.
A lot of no answers, folks.
To pay for this.
In case you haven't heard, Brandon has been hospitalized with anxiety.
It's disrupting.
Guess he won't be making his Monday morning meeting. I doubt that.
Let me just be very clear. It did not stop my administration from investing in the unhoused. Now, there are other cities that have looked at making budget cuts. We haven't gotten to that point.
Will you be adding a tax to help pay for this?
Of course you will.
Well, I think people are clearly familiar with what my vision is for revenue in this city. And my revenue, of course, is committed to making sure that we are doing everything that we can
give to the poor. That's his plan.
70,000 people who are unhoused in the city are black families.
Tax the rich,
that's why I
give to the
invested
poor.
$250 million in my budget to do just that.
But will you add a tax to help pay for the migrant crisis?
Here's what I've said repeatedly. This is an international crisis.
And we've heard you say that.
Okay, so then you know the answer then.
Well, because the answer I asked is, are you adding a tax?
The answer is the federal government has to do its job.
And what if they don't?
Well, look, there are 30,000 Ukrainians in this city right now who sought asylum, who were refugees. What's the difference between that crisis and the crisis that we're experiencing now? So this is not an unprecedented demand. There were services that were attached to individuals who were seeking asylum from the Ukraine, and the federal government acted. And so my question is, and it's the question that everybody is raising, what's the difference between...
So there you go, some more of the interview with Sabrina Frenza and Brandon Johnson, as we're first to report here that Brandon, Nita Padilla and John Cass are saying that has been hospitalized with anxiety attacks, folks. It's getting to him. Chicago is under siege of anxiety, and his hair is getting taller. Check out the Chicago Way podcast. Let's go, Brandon. He's not running Chicago as we know right now. They're saying Tony Preckwinkle is running the show. There you go. Multiple hospital trips for stress-related illness and his general inability to handle the job he was shoved into. Go figure, folks. Go figure. There's our buddy Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon. We're reporting it here. He's in the hospital. He can't handle the heat, so you got to get out of the kitchen, Brandon. Got to get out of the kitchen, buddy. So there you go. Check out his interview with Sabrina Frenza. You knew that's where he was headed. You knew that's where he was headed. It's no good. No good, folks. There you go. Good old Brandon having some problems.
Between those who are seeking asylum in this country, 30,000 of whom are in the city of Chicago, what's the difference between Ukrainian refugees and those who are seeking asylum from Central and South America?
Right, but that's not the question that the people of Chicago are asking. The people of Chicago want to know, will you raise a tax, whether it be a property tax or...
Can't answer that
Well, it's
question.
interesting. No one has ever asked me if I'm going to raise a tax. In fact, I did not raise property taxes. And still, without raising property taxes, a full investment in homelessness, $250 million, $100 million for violence prevention. We're going to open up mental health clinics. We've eliminated sub-minimum
So he can
wage.
admit
Black and brown
himself.
women who were tip workers. We're talking about tip workers that's attached to slavery. We abolished that in this.
What
in
was
this city.
slavery was like
We've
back
also
in the
added
Civil
paid
War.
time off for
You don't have
thousands of
slavery
workers.
today.
We're investing in people. My administration has not missed a beat.
Enough of
We
this
have built
garbage,
an
guys.
operation centered
Just
around
wanted to
people's
let you
humanity
know
to
Brandon's been
respond to this international
hospitalized with
crisis
anxiety
that the federal
issues.
government has been negligent
And look
in.
for
And
more
while
to
doing
come
all of
out
that,
later.
I've still kept
Chicago is
every
not in a
single
good
promise that I
place.
was going to invest in
Definitely
people.
not
So you
in a
can
good
commit to not
place.
raising
So
property
there you
taxes,
go.
regardless of how bad the
Reported
situation
by
is.
Migrant Mayhem
My
Land
budget
Cruiser
is
Midwest.